Hello, my name is Corey Underwood, and this is the audio portion of my Acceptable Use Policy project. Starting with what is an Acceptable Use Policy, or AUP. An Acceptable Use Policy is a document that school districts and schools create to set guidelines for acceptable use, as well as what is deemed as unacceptable technology use. A typical AUP should include a section with definitions that will be included in the policy to help students, parents, and staff comprehend the terms that would be used. An AUP may include consequences that inform the reader how violations will be handled when and if a policy is broken. It's important for schools to create an AUP for students and employees so that there are clear guidelines for appropriate uses of technology. An AUP is created for protection for the school and everyone that is included. It serves the same purpose as a set of classroom rules for riding a roller coaster or when driving on the highway. Without these guidelines, certain behavior will go without consequence when in fact it can be detrimental to those in that environment. So, for Potomac High School, the AUP provided by the school for the students is a set of guidelines embedded in the Student Code of Conduct. Within this document are segments from separate administrative procedures which are found to be most important when creating a school's acceptable use policy. Some of those guidelines include using portable electronic devices, or PEDs, in a manner that will not disrupt the school environment or impact the safe operation of the bus. This section also discusses storage of PEDs when not being used during the allotted times. Using school technology for educational purposes only. The majority of the prohibited actions that fall under this guideline deal with students accessing anything that is not part of a class or school activity. The last guideline focuses on social media with tips as to what students should do, such as protecting their password and not sharing it with others, and what they should not do, such as posting pictures or videos of offensive acts like fights or other crimes. This document, as well as the other administrative procedures, can be found on the county website. Suggestions for how the AUP should be communicated to staff, students, and parents. It should be posted on the school website, and it should be mandatory that any classroom website that teachers have must be posted there as well. This will allow students and parents to always have digital access to the AUP. During back-to-school night, it would be appropriate to go over the guidelines so that any questions that may come up will have an opportunity to be answered. Before all this can take place, though, it would only make sense to have the explanation of the AUP done for teachers so that they are familiar with the terms as well as for their own knowledge. Making sure that the staff is knowledgeable will help allow them to explain and implement these policies in the school and classroom. This training, we will say, should take place annually, the week before students come back to school when teachers are on site during their professional development. It should also take place after the first semester as a review for teachers and other employees, and once again at the end of the school year to help send teachers on their way. My suggestions for implementing this AUP to students is to do it during the first week as teachers go over the course overview, syllabus, and class and school rules. Also, as teachers are more frequently being encouraged to use technology in classrooms, before beginning an activity that includes using technology, they should have a conversation with students. This conversation would only have to happen periodically for everyday technology routines, such as using Socrative for warm-up activities. When it comes to projects and research that requires extensive time spent on the internet or using technology, there should be a more detailed conversation explaining specific do's and don'ts, as well as the consequences that run parallel. It would be a good idea to have a copy of the AUP and specific guidelines posted in each classroom, visible for students to see. It would be incorporated in all classroom rules. Now, there's a saying that teachers are the worst students. Even though we're all adults, we still need supervision and guidelines to follow so that we act accordingly and that our actions are appropriate. Students get sent to us every day with the confidence from parents that each child will be in a safe learning environment. There needs to be a mandatory training that takes place for all staff in the beginning of the school year during their professional development sessions the week before school starts. Doing this ensures that the majority of staff at the school, if not all, will be present. Attempting to do a training such as this during a regular faculty meeting runs the risk of time issues and attendance, as all staff are not present during those meetings, only teachers and administration, when it's clearly a topic for all staff, including maintenance and front desk secretaries. At the end of the semester, there should be a mandatory review with a video that all staff are to watch and answer questions about the policy at the end. This helps keep the information fresh in their minds and can act as a reminder for those who have forgotten. Finally, another video and question session should happen towards the end of the school year to send teachers and faculty off confident of the guidelines provided. Technology is forever changing. It changes every day, but who is responsible for keeping up with it, especially in a school setting? There should be a clear department that is responsible for keeping up with different technologies, different social media websites, and different ways for students to communicate. We must stay on top of this to make sure that our policies, our administrative procedures, and any documentation that is related to this topic stays up to date. With information falling out of date, we run the risk of loopholes and we run the risk of consequences that are not appropriate to the violations. I hope you've enjoyed this short presentation, and I hope you found that it was informative. Please, if you have any questions or any concerns about this presentation, please feel free to let me know. Thank you very much, and again, I hope you enjoyed.